T, and this is my channel, The Good Guys. Guys, today I am going to bring you, this is a sad case that happened in the year 2000 in September. I am highlighting this case because, remember, this is Kids Week, I have dubbed, and it's the whole point of it is to highlight children who use firearms to protect not only themselves, but their siblings, their parents, family members, legal guardian, etc. Okay? And the overall question we have to ask is, do we consider children a part of the Second Amendment? Are they also allowed to have firearms? And for the answer that I will give, I will say yes. And I say yes under the supervision of their parents. Okay? Then the issue comes to, well, what if their parents are abusive? If they have their firearm, they'll be able to defend themselves, right? And it is a case, that part of it is what makes me uneasy. What if the parent doesn't have firearms of their own, and that child, he becomes the aggressor, right? And he wouldn't have had it, or even had the ability to have it, if the parent has not afforded it, meaning gone and purchased that firearm. Usually that's how they get guns in the first place, unless they're stolen. But anyway, guys, I'm going to read a story in its entirety about a case in Merced, California, and it is chilling. It is a sad case, but I do believe we need to go through it to understand the importance of why children should learn how to use firearms in your absence. Okay, there will be times where you may not be there. Okay, 100% of the time. It's impossible to do that. Okay, so should children, and this is another question we got to ask, know how to use a gun? And I believe the answer is yes. All children should learn how to use a firearm. I believe it should be a national movement. It should be a case where it's taught in schools. It used to be, but I guess the case is not that anymore. I mean, we have children committing so many crimes now. We have children who do defend themselves in a case where I believe it's just necessary. So I'm going to go through this story in its entirety, okay? And guys, I would ask if you subscribe, you leave a like, you comment on this video. Remember, we are on the road still to 1,000 subscribers, and I believe we can get there with your help. Also, you guys can leave a like, or you can contact me also on Twitter, on Minds, and even on TruthSocial. So let us begin with this story. I'm going to read it for you in its entirety. Here we go. It says here, deaths in Merced. Okay, shouldn't we repeal the gun laws if it'll save children or save a single child? Jessica Lynn Carpenter is 14 years old. She knows how to shoot. Her father taught her, and there were adequate firearms to deal with the crisis that arose in the Carpenter home in Merced, California, a San Joaquin Valley farming community 130 miles southeast of San Francisco, when 27-year-old Jonathan David Bruce came calling on Wednesday morning, August 23rd. Now, this looks like a no-name website. It isn't, okay? It is an older website. All right, but just so everybody here doesn't think that I've pulled this from somebody who put it on the web and made up a story, this story is real, okay? If we go to the Los Angeles Times in the year 2000, same date, 24, they have reported on this story. Not so much detail, but they did highlight this, and it did happen in Merced, California in the year of 2000. Okay, so let me go back to the story, okay, and I'm going to read it again in its entirety. All right, there was just one problem. Under the new safe storage laws being enacted in California and elsewhere, parents can be held criminally liable unless they lock up their guns with their children are home alone. And this is the problem. So that's just what law-abiding parents John and Tiffany Carpenter had done. Some of Jessica's siblings, Anna, 13, Vanessa, 11, Ashley, 9, and John William, 7, were still in their bedrooms when Bruce broke into the farmhouse shortly after 9 a.m. Bruce, who was armed with a pitchfork, but to whom police remain unable to attribute any motive, had apparently cut the phone lines. Wow. So when he forced his way into the house and began stabbing the younger children in their beds, Jessica's attempts to 911 didn't do much good. Next, the sensible girl ran from where the family guns were stored, but they were locked up tight. Now, folks, this is the part where they had basically a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old in the house. And at this time, I think as a parent, you should be able to gauge if your children can use a gun. Even I've seen children at the age of 5 years old, at 4 years old, know how to use a gun. And we have covered cases as young as 10 using a firearm for self-defense. Okay, so in my opinion, the girl knew enough to run to the gun cabinet, but it was locked. And this is a tragedy. This is terrible. And in this case, maybe the parents should have just, I don't advocate for people to violate laws, but my goodness, if there was ever a case not to follow one, this would be it. Okay, so let's read the rest of it. It says here, when the 14-year-old girl ran to a nearby house to escape the pitchfork-wielding man attacking her siblings, writes Kim Yoshiri of the Fresno Bee, we'll probably have to look that up, she didn't ask the neighbor to call 911. She begged him to grab his rifle and take care of this guy. She already knew that 911 was not going to come in time. She was sensible enough as a 14-year-old girl to know that this problem had to be dealt with immediately, not to wait for the fucking police. It says here he didn't. Jessica ended up on the phone. So this man, and I'm going to tell you something, this man, he has no duty to go and protect those children. He doesn't. I mean, what if he even has children of his own? I'm telling you, when this kind of stuff comes to your doorstep, and especially if you're married and you got your own family, most cases, guys, I'm going to tell you, your woman, okay, is not going to even allow you to go and sacrifice yourself for somebody else's children. Most women will be like, what about your own children? You better oh yes, ladies are territorial too, I'm telling you, and they will tell you, matter of fact, you better stay here and protect your own children. Okay, now we need good men to step up. We need good people to we would have loved in the case that this man be a good Samaritan and go and help, but Guys, especially in today's age, people are not going to come to help you. It's rare. What if he goes and shoots that guy, and then guess what happens? Now you become the target of the law. And then, especially in this terrible state of California, if he goes into the house, he shoots this guy, and guess what happens? He may be charged. He may be charged. So he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I don't blame him. So I guess the least he could have done is give the child a phone. Says by the time Merced County Sheriff deputies arrived at the home, 7-year-old John William, 9-year-old Ashley Daniel were dead. Ashley had apparently hung onto her assailant's leg long enough for her older sisters to escape. 13-year-old Anna was wounded but survived. It's so sad. Once the deputies arrived, Bruce rushed them with his bloody pitchfork, so they shot him dead. They shot him more than a dozen times with their guns. Says here, get it? Question mark. The following Friday, the children's great uncle, the Reverend John Hilton, told reporters if only Jessica had a gun available to her, she would have stopped the whole thing. If she had been properly armed, she would have stopped him in his tracks. Maybe John William and Ashley would still be alive, Jessica's uncle said. Now, I'm going to tell you, the question here is, where are her parents? Where are the parents? Where are they? Where did they go? And guys, I'm going to tell you, at the age of 13, 14 years old, I don't know if there is a legal law limit by a state, by the county, by even the government, where you can leave your children alone. I don't even know what the age is. I should know. I mean, I'm a recent father. You recently become a father. When am I going to be able to leave my child alone, home alone? Okay? And when that day happens, you better believe she will be able to use a gun. If I have multiple children, absolutely. And I don't want to put them in that situation, guys. You know, nobody does. No parent, let me say this, no loving parent would want to. But you cannot always be there for your children as much as you want to be. But my goodness, if she had the ability to go and get that gun and stop them. Look, she didn't even ask for the police. She didn't ask for them. She wanted the neighbor to go and shoot this mother flower, okay? She didn't even ask for the police. Immediately, she was thinking, these jokers, they're not going to get here in time. We need to take care of this problem right now. So, if we keep reading, it says, unfortunately, 17 states now have these so-called safe storage laws. Guys, it's even gotten worse, okay? There are so many states now that require you to lock your firearms. And I did cover a story about this, where in some cases, again, you can be penalized, okay? And they want, these anti-gunners, they want you to be able, they want to, if your child accesses the firearm in a case where they become a mass shooter, they want to be able to prosecute you, even if it's a gun, an inflicted gunshot wound. They want to prosecute you too as well. Most police officers don't want that to happen. This was according to the Trace, okay, in their article. All right. So let's move on. It says here, Unfortunately, 17 states now have these so-called safe storage laws, replies Yale Law School senior research scholar Dr. John Lott. Okay, author of the book More Guns, Less Crime. The problem is you see no decrease in either juvenile accidental gun deaths or suicides when such laws are enacted. So there's no decrease in these two inherent problems, but you do see an increase in crime rates. So the guns are locked up, but then guess what? In order to battle these two different ones, these two different things that they are worried about, gun deaths, accidental gun deaths, and suicide, the crime rates where people are coming into the homes, hurting children, hurting people, they haven't decreased. And at the time of this article, 2000, I'm going to tell you, after 2020, we know crime has gone significantly up. And they still want you to lock your firearm in a safe. Every gun I have is loaded. Loaded. There is no case where the ammunition is set or separate from the gun. It isn't. Just in case we have to use it. And I'm going to tell you, even when you go to your doctor, even when you go to these visits, especially a healthcare visit, they will tell you, oh, if you have guns in the home, keep them separate from ammunition. I almost lost it when I heard this. I said, man, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what you're doing. What are you talking about? Keep it separate. I literally almost bit the doctor's head off. Okay? But I got a look from the missus and I had to ignore that. Okay? So, it says here, such laws are based on the notion that young children often find daddy's gun and accidentally shoot each other. But in fact, only 5 American children under the age of 10 died of accidents involving handguns. This was in 1997. Lott reports, people get the impression that kids under 10 are killing each other. In fact, this is very rare, 3 to 4 per year. Now, guys, I remember I did do a story of this on my channel, okay? And the whole point of it, okay, was to talk about how children are not shooting themselves in mass, okay? They are not out there, with all these accidental shootings. And here it is right here, guys, okay? The counter opinion to trace in the American accidental shootings among children, okay, it's not as high as everyone thinks, okay? It isn't, all right? So, yeah, that's here. I'm not going to play this, okay? But even I put links, or I put in the description the Trace's article, okay? And they were talking about it's nearly every other day, and I think that's bullshit, okay? They do talk about it happening, and it does happening, but they want to impose fines, jail time, okay? They want you to suffer for this. But even the police, okay, they don't recommend that. They don't even they wouldn't do that. And these cap laws, okay, these child access prevention laws that they try to impose, it's just it's insane, okay? Just for this particular case alone, we want children to have the ability to protect themselves, okay? Let's move on here. All right, now it says here, the typical shooter in an accidental child gun death is a male in his late teens or 20s who statistically is probably a drug addict or an alcoholic and has already been charged with multiple crimes, Lott reports. These are the data that correlate. are these kind of people who are going to be or going to obey one more law, and they don't. Criminals don't follow the law by definition. They don't. This is the thing that we try to, at exhaustion, explain to these anti-gunners, and they never understand that criminals do not follow the law. As we continue, so why doesn't the national press report what happens when a victim disarmament, i.e. gun control law, costs the lives of innocent children in a place like Merced? They wouldn't do it. Guys, I'm telling you, the people that come up with these laws on trying to store your firearm, they want you in the ability where you have to depend on either the police or the federal government. The Democrats, the liberals, the lefties, the people that do not like firearms, they want you dependent on the government. People like this woman here who writes routinely these articles, okay? Jennifer Massia, holy smoke. If you see her Twitter page, that is all she does. That's all she does is that, okay? This woman, for every single time, she is always out there, okay? Always out there. Why is my Twitter not working? Okay? Always, all the time out there, okay? Doing this, okay? I'm probably, even if I pull something up, she should be here somewhere, right? Let's see. Always something that this woman is doing. Okay, so now they got a new article here. I will read this another time. Let me bookmark that, okay? But this lady, Jennifer Massia, okay, she is a chief, unaware woman who is always, okay, talking about gun violence, okay? And it is my expectation, it is my belief that she and the Trace want to get rid of guns. They are on the left side of the argument. They do not like the Second Amendment, okay? And she's always doing that. And I want to highlight her. I think she's a person of bad faith, in my opinion. Okay, so if we keep going, okay, it says here, okay, in the school shooting in Pearl, Mississippi, Dr. Lott replies the assistant principal had formerly carried a gun to school. When the 1995 gun-free school zones law passed, he took to locking his gun in his car and parking it at least a quarter mile away from the school in order to obey the law. When the shooting incident started, he ran to his car, unlocked it, got his gun, ran back, disarmed the shooter, and held him at the ground for 5 minutes until the police arrived. Guys, so this particular man, okay, and I'm going to give you his name, okay, he was actually contacted, and he was in an article, okay, where they talked about him, and that's this particular man here, okay. His name was Joel Merrick, okay, and he is even against arming school staff. His reasoning here, okay, is that teachers should just teach, and I agree with that. They shouldn't have to be in charge of protecting children, okay? And it says it here, teachers have to teach, and that's what they should be doing, said Joel Merrick, the former assistant principal at a high school in Mississippi. It doesn't matter that what a pistolero you are or thinking you are, you don't need to be in school in charge of protecting children. Guys, I agree. I 100% agree. But, my friend, this is not the world we are living in now. The world we are living in now, we have to take in account that you may be involved in a school shooting. And for all those teachers out there that have died protecting children in these school shootings, don't you think that they would say, you know what? If I had a pistol at the time, I would have been able to shoot that particular person, right? So guys, think about it. Think about this. What if the teachers had guns? It's a sad thing. Let's go back to the article, okay? So, as we are going through this, it says here, okay, there were more than 700 newspaper stories cataloged on that incident. Only 19 mentioned the assistant principal in any way, and only 9 mentioned that he had a gun. So it was vastly underreported that this man had a firearm and was able to apprehend this shooter, and stop him, and he did it with a gun. Guys, look at this. Let me give you also what happened. Let's look at the 1997 Pearl High School shooting, and this is from Wikipedia, and they even say the same thing. The school assistant principal, Joe Merrick, the same guy that we talked about, had his .45 caliber pistol in his truck. Remember, he went to go lock it inside of the car because of California Mississippi, there's stupid law that says, hey, you need to lock your pistol, keep your firearm out of the schools. What do we call this? A gun-free zone. It says here, and then it says here, he spotted Woodham, this was the shooter guy, attempting to flee the parking lot, shouted for him to stop. Realizing that Woodham was doing, another student used his own vehicle to block Woodham's path, which point Woodman attempted to get around the obstruction by driving his mother's car into a grass verge, only to end up getting stuck in the grass. Seizing the opportunity, Merrick ordered Woodham out of the car at gunpoint and detained him until police arrived at the scene. This is according to Wikipedia. So, if we go back, guys, what this says to me, and this is something that is happening, I will tell you, in the gun community. When you read the USCCA, okay, I've read a particular article there where it talks about how gun owners, some gun owners, not all, are deciding not to, let's say, observe some of these gun laws or let's say, especially this particular law about no guns here, or let's say where it says this is a gun-free zone. It is basically a magnet for a mass shooter. A magnet. It's like you're telling the bear, or you're wafting honey in the bear's eyes and expecting him not to come to eat this honey. Okay? It is unfathomable the stupidity that we have from gun-free zones. I keep saying it to myself. I don't know why businesses don't advertise, hey, we have guns here. Don't advertise, hey, we got cameras here. They're linked to the police department. Plaster it all over your gas station, your place of business, and say, hey, look, the guy behind the counter has a gun. And also, we got another guy in the back. You can't see him, but he's there, so don't try anything. That's what I would do. And that's what people should do. Logically, it makes sense. And all these gun-free zones, they shouldn't exist. They should not exist. But they do Okay? And this is why we have mass shootings. It is part of the reason. I don't know any place, any school that has chosen to arm themselves, arm the teachers, put a sign on the very front yard and say, if you come here, we will shoot you. I haven't seen any mass shooting happening at those particular places where they have made it very clear we have guns. I'm just saying. Let's move on. It says here, the press covers only the bad side of gun use, which is so true, and only the potential benefits of victim disarmament laws, never the costs. Basically, all the current federal proposals fall into this category. Trigger locks, waiting periods, which do nothing. Lott said, there's not one academic study that shows any reduction in crime from measures like these, but there are good studies that show the opposite. Even the short waiting periods, crime goes up. You have women being stalked and they can't go quickly and get a gun due to the waiting periods, so they get assaulted or they get killed. Very famous case in New Jersey where a woman was getting stalked by a particular ex-boyfriend, and because she had to wait for the mandatory waiting period, she was killed. She couldn't defend herself. Okay? It's terrible. All right? The United States has among the world's lowest hot burglary rates. Burglaries committed while people are in the building, at 13% compared to gun-free Britain's rate, which is now up to 59%. Holy fuck. This is in the year 2000. Lott reports, if you survey burglars, American burglars spend at least twice as long casing a joint before they break in. Why? Why do they do that? Here's the answer. The number one reason they give for taking so much time is they are afraid of getting shot. Ta-da. Eureka. This is the moment where lightning is supposed to strike your brain and say there is a deterrent for criminals to enter an establishment when they know there is a gun. The way Jonathan David Bruce of Merced, California might once have been afraid of getting shot before 17 states enacted these stupid laws requiring American parents to leave their kids disarmed while they're away from home. Guys, if there was ever a case, and I'm going to tell you, if there was ever a case to even work from home, so you can watch your children, so you can be home when they come back from school. I think after 2020, after the whole COVID era, there are so many Americans that have reevaluated their lives. So many of them have just said, you know what? I'd rather work from home, especially if you have children. So many people have just said, you know what? I'm not going back to an office. Nope, I'm not doing it. And I cannot blame them. There are so many reasons, and this is one of them. Making sure that your child is safe. Safe. It's the whole reason to be, part of the reason of being a parent. And it disgusts me that people like this woman here, people from the outfit of the Trace, these terrible people, okay, they just are on full auto mode 100%. They want to get rid of guns. They want to, they advocate for stupid things that they have no business advocating for, and all it will do is cause harm to the general public, and to overall cause harm to children. These people are the terrible ones. These people are the terrible ones. Guys, after reading this, I mean, you gotta think to yourself, I will not allow this to happen to my children. If you have kids, you gotta think to yourself, I will not allow this to happen. And I can say I am in that camp. I'm in that camp, and because at the end of the day, we all, and this doesn't even pertain to just America. We all love our children. Why not give them the ability to protect themselves? Why not show them how to protect themselves? Okay? It's something that needs to happen. Guys, I say these things at the end of my videos, and I mean them. I always do, okay? And it is this. Good people should have guns. They should always have guns, and that should extend to their children, okay? Children should learn how to use firearms, and in my opinion, I want children to have guns, and under the supervision of their parents. Okay, children are not adults yet. In some cases, some of these children will go into military service at the age of 17, 16 years old. I've even heard of, and at that point, in my opinion, I believe they cease being children. They are now young men or young women who are protecting their country. And if you can allow them to defend the country, they should have a right to firearms. And so ultimately, do I believe that children should have guns? Yes. Under the Second Amendment does not say they don't give an age. You born in this country under the Second Amendment, you should have the ability to have a gun. I personally want that to be under the supervision of a parent. Okay? It's just so sad that something like this could happen. Okay? So anyway, guys, I don't want to ramble and keep hitting the same subject, but you guys know where I stand, okay? And the reason is because there is evil out there. Evil exists, and when good men do nothing, evil will triumph. If good men do nothing, there will be no good guys.